All right. This is my first time recording myself, doing Flowetry in meditation. So, here we go. The first thing that comes to mind is sit and reflect upon what these rhymes and lines could begin to inspect. Remembering the heart delivers the call to remember them all, but forgetting personalities and the walls that we've built within this box, breaking free of all these thoughts, remembering that you and me are one and the same. Never again will we walk through this misery alone. Finding our tribes one by one, our community begins to build, awakening and awakening and awakening to the call that is ultimately within the soul, reaching out from the depths, ringing against the walls that we've built, begging that we reach beyond our comfort. Now let's step further behind this mind, you see, because it's ultimately you and me and three. What do I mean, you may say? I'm speaking about the divine connection that lay before us. I'm talking about Mother Earth that is beneath us. I'm talking about the life that is within us. This is so we can remember the separation is really unification. If we can let go of trying to know, we can begin experiencing what we can see in front of us as the love within us that's building this bridge between the 3D and the 5D before me. What do you see? You may ask, how can you see with your eyes closed? You see, I'm more than this body. I'm the energy that rests within me. That's that body, which is really a temple if you want to get simple. But we've forgotten how to worship the energy that is you and me, the connection to the Trinity. Some are looking for Jesus to arise, but I think they're failing to see with the truth that lies in the riddles and the rhymes that they've been given to digest, which is ultimately digress our perspective of reality. And now you see we are no longer centered in three, and that's really the heart, the soul, letting go of mentally what we think we should see and letting it reflect to us what is within us, and then we can begin to see, maybe, just maybe, that nature is ultimately what we should really be. Nature, nurture, mother, the future. So what is it that you're asking? What are the questions that you're begging for an answer? Because you'll never see them externally. You will begin to be confused if you keep writing and believing these rules that you were maybe forced to believe. But you see, none of this really matters if you are at the center and heart of that ladder, climbing but not climbing, floating but not floating, existing, just being, remembering that each entity that we used to worship has an answer for each of us. to continue to remember that we're all walking along the same path, separate but unified. And as I sit right here in spring and watch it all come alive, it reminds me of all the lies that I used to be told, and how I used to bring that old into the new, and began building old in the new, compounding the pain within me and you. So as we unravel this brittle rhyme and find a reason for our kind, which is ultimately our authenticity, it's reflecting you and me within our soul vibration. You see, the frequency is really not driven, it's experienced. You allow it to flow like the water, like the river. Imagine the ocean being controlled by the motion of our emotions. Could you imagine, just for a second, if Mother Earth reflected back to us what we have been feeling and running from? Could you imagine the tragedy that could unravel before you and me? Do you see why it's so important to check yourself, to be in balance, and to check the box that you've built yourself in? Because that's really what's weighing down him and her. But are we really these labels that we give ourselves? Or are we more than that? Where's the war at that? We're really just battling ourselves, fighting fire with fire, trying to drown a stone when really it's meant to sink in and be moved by the ocean and the motion of the river that flows. And it always ends up right where it's meant to be, creating the divergence of the sea. But really, are we far off? Or are we right where we're meant to be? You see, there's divine timing, and while some may never unlock what's clever, they will experience life that will remove that strife, that can begin to sprout life from the seeds planted in strife. And we can begin to release this pain and gain all that we wish to abstain from. Because really, what your focus is where your energy goes. So we really have to learn how to flow with that frequency that is within you and me. And so long as we know thyself, we'll see that all in reality has its space and its place and is meant to be. You see, you would never ask a tree, why do you have those branches? Why are those flowers there? No. You see the tree and you know that it is it and it be what it sees, because it does nothing but exist amongst we, absorbing and transmuting day in and day out. You see, and as we begin to activate the light body within, we begin to step into what we meant to in the first place. And maybe we missed space, but now we're in place for what's meant to be. So is this Flowetry? I don't know, you tell me. I'm just speaking what's on my heart. And from the start, I got to say, I'm meant to see what beauty lies before me and express that frequency, because externally there is nothing without me. And its expression is free. There's no oppression for me. I'm breaking free of all these chains. I'm transmuting. I'm alchemy. This is verbal alchemy. Can you see the path that lay out before you and me? See, I've taken you down this long story, but ultimately, it's the frequency that's shared. It's my soul. Are you whole? I walk and I run, and I toss and I turn, and I fly, and I stumble, and I fall, and amongst it all, I'm really just and in that you see there's more to me. And I can dive deep to show you the pain that rests there, and yet to bring forth the love and light choosingly really, really should show the authenticity that is before me. You see, my third eye never lies. It intuitively tells me that all that I see is true or lies, but ultimately it is my truth that lies within. And so, as we all try to hide these lies that we tell ourselves, the truth begins to arise before, and the light casts upon the darkness that hides within. And so these demons seem like they've been dreaming of beaming their fire within. But ultimately, you've been creating and carving out these spaces for them to hide. And then they begin to peel back your hide, controlling your thoughts, your emotions, getting lost in the ocean, the sea amongst we, that commotion. And we dive deep into the lower frequencies, but ultimately, once we hit that bottom within, we bounce back and we see that there is only light that exists with the darkness. So how long does it take for you to come to see that there is only balance and harmony amongst the chaos? And the observer is that, the, we, you, me, all. It is that hive mind, body, and soul. Alright. Just want to share that with you. It's the first time. Thank you. Infinite love, infinite light, infinite movement, my friends. Namaste.